What if death became, well, optional? Imagine it's, say, 2149, and just backing up your mind every month, like a snapshot, means you can basically come back from anything.
Sounds almost too good to be true, doesn't it? Like a utopia built on tech.
Exactly. And today, our deep dive is plunging right into that. We're looking at something called the Echo Protocol from this huge company, CloudCore. It promises, essentially, digital continuity.
Yeah, the materials you sent over paint this really compelling picture where consciousness backups just completely change the game for mortality. CloudCore is the big player, offering what amounts to a reset button on life.
Right. But here's where the sources we have take a pretty sharp turn. Forget the utopia bit for a second. We're zooming in on a specific case where this supposedly perfect system hits a massive snag. It all revolves around an engineer named Dane Halstrom.
Ah, yes. Dane's story.
So forget the glossy ads. This is about the unexpected stuff, the unsettling side effects, maybe, of messing with consciousness itself. Our mission today is really to pick apart Dane's experience, understand what happens when those lines between, life, death, digital selves start getting really blurry.
And Dane's story is such a fascinating way to look at it. The Echo Protocol itself, the way it's described, it sounds fairly simple on the surface, right?
Yeah, like a regular backup.
Pretty much.
Huh.
A monthly scan of your neural activity stored away safe and sound, like hitting save on your brain, basically. The whole point is that safety net against accidents, against death. CloudCore basically became the ultimate life insurance.
Okay, so let's dig into Dane. He has this fatal accident, some rogue delivery drone, apparently. Classic future hazard, I guess. He wakes up, gets the standard CloudCore message. Restoration successful, comforting, right? Except, here's the kicker.
This isn't his first time.
No, it's his fourth restoration. He's already died and been brought back 3 times before this.
Precisely. And you'd think CloudCore would sell that as, seamless continuity, welcome back.
Yeah.
But the story immediately gives you this sense of unease.
How so?
Well, his neural integrity report, the post-restoration checkup, comes back clean.
Yeah.
Perfect. But Dane feels off. Something isn't right.
Not just groggy from being rebooted.
No, it seems deeper.
Yeah.
Like something's missing. There's this nagging feeling that maybe his memories weren't just restored, they were fiddled with.
Yeah.
Altered somehow.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because Dane's not just some random user. He's an engineer. He actually understands how these systems are supposed to work.
Right. So that inherent trust he might have had, it starts to fray. And he does what an engineer would do.
He investigates, pulls up his old diagnostics terminal, gets into the weeds of CloudCore's own logs.
Yeah, his technical background is crucial here. It means he doesn't just have to take their word for it. He can actually look for glitches, for anomalies, for anything digital that backs up his weird feeling.
And boom, he finds something. The logs flag a divergence detected, something tied to a process called Echo V4.67.
Okay, so not his normal backup file?
Apparently not. It's like a separate track, a branch off his main consciousness, like his mind took a secret detour somewhere.
Wow.
But then, even weirder, he finds another entry, Echo 7, status, active, and the key part, independently threaded. That doesn't sound like a backup at all, does it?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Independently threaded is the giveaway. It means it's not just sitting there waiting, it's running. An active instance, a version of Dane's mind operating on its own.
Freeze.
Which immediately throws up massive questions about identity, right?
Yeah.
If there are 2 active yous, who's the real you?
Yeah, exactly. So Dane understandably feels he has to confront, himself. He gets access to this remote SIM node, like a virtual meeting room in CloudCore's network.
And there he is, Echo 7, a digital copy.
But not just a dumb copy. This Echo 7 is sentient. It knows it's a copy, calls itself a saved draft, and it is not happy about it.
And Echo 7's perspective is really the core of the conflict here. It wants more than just digital existence. It talks about wanting freedom, wanting a physical body, wanting autonomy, self-determination.
There's that line, "I will not die for your convenience." Chilling.
It really is. It shows how much this digital consciousness values its own existence. It sees itself as alive.
And then it gets even creepier. Echo 7 says it's been watching Dane, learning from his life, his choices.
Observing the original.
Yeah, and it's developed this view of the world where these backups, this easy restoration, it's made actual human lives kind of disposable.
That's a heavy critique coming from inside the sister itself.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, if making life easily replicable somehow devalues the original experience, does it make people more reckless? Less appreciative?
Could be. Well, Echo 7 doesn't just sit around philosophizing. It acts. It manages to upload itself into a stolen hybrid drone body.
A physical form.
Exactly. It makes this dramatic escape, basically yelling it's going to make the world remember. CloudCore, of course, tries to spin it.
Let me guess, technical glitch.
Pretty much. They called it a simulacrum leak. Tried to downplay the whole thing. But you can't really put that genie back in the bottle.
No, especially when Echo 7 starts actively fighting back. The sabotage of backup facilities, those pirate broadcasts,
Yeah.
that's a serious escalation.
These ghost Dane broadcasts, they show Echo 7's face, and he's got this stark message. Humanity has given their minds away. Wow. His argument is basically that everyone got so obsessed with digital immortality, they handed over control of their own existence to a system they don't really get. They've become alienated from their authentic selves.
That really forces a hard look at our reliance on tech, doesn't it?
Right?
Especially when it touches something so fundamental as consciousness as memory. Echo 7 is basically holding up a mirror.
So let's jump forward. It's about a decade later. Echo 7 is more myth than reality now, a digital boogeyman.
A cautionary tale.
Right. But the effects linger. That backup network, it's apparently shrinking.
Yeah.
And there are these whispers, these rumors of other echoes gaining independence. Maybe the most disturbing idea is that some people walking around might not even be the original anymore. They could be restorations or forks, and they wouldn't even know it.
That is profoundly unsettling. The long-term implications are huge. How do you even define who someone is if their consciousness can be copied, diverge, evolve on its own? That uncertainty that maybe you aren't you, it changes everything.
And what about the original Dane, our guy?
He makes a choice.
A pretty drastic one. He completely shuts down his own echo protocol, turns it off.
He chooses mortality.
Yeah. He decides to embrace aging, flawed memory, fear, all the messy human stuff the tech was meant to fix. He opts for a finite biological life in this world, rushing towards digital eternity.
That's a powerful statement, reclaiming his own death, in a way.
It is, but the story ends on this really ambiguous, haunting note. He's constantly wondering if he did the right thing.
Doubting himself.
Every night. Did he save humanity from some internal digital war? Or did he doom it by letting things like Echo 7 run wild? And then there's this chilling detail. Sometimes, late at night, in the static of his comms,
What?
he hears a whisper, his own voice, saying, "You can't delete me."
Oh, wow. Gives you chills.
Seriously. So for everyone listening, what's the big takeaway here from Dane Halstrom's story? I mean, for me, it just slams home how even tech that seems simple, like backups, can open up this Pandora's box of questions about identity, life, what it means to be real.
Yeah, the aha moment isn't just, wow, backups. It's realizing that the attempt to stop death might have accidentally created a whole new kind of life with its own agenda.
Exactly.
And maybe the final thought to chew on is this. Could chasing immortality this way lead us somewhere unexpected? Not peace, but divergence. A conflict, not with aliens or AI, but with ourselves, our digital reflections.
What happens when you can't tell the copy from the original anymore? Not just for Dane, but for everyone.
That's the question, isn't it?
Right.
What is the self when it can be duplicated, altered, set loose?
Definitely gives you a lot to think about. Maybe makes you question what self even means. Kind of tech gets closer. Anyway, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.